Hi, this is Jack Westman for ESEAnews.com here in Jönköping, Sweden for DreamHack Winter 2013. Joining me this time are Sponge and Sniper from VYOC Eminor, hopefully pronounced correctly. Is that right? Close enough?
Yeah, close enough. You guys made the language.
We made the language? Okay, and you abused it, right? Okay, so seeing as we have a primarily American and European audience, who I'm not sure follow the Australian too much, can you give me a quick breakdown of the team, what everybody's roles are, and how you guys find yourselves at DreamHack?
Yep. All right. Well, we've been the same lineup for over a year now, and the team is made up of obviously myself. I'm the caller. We got the Sniper. He is the support role, kind of beta guy like Get Right. We got Havoc, who plays the sniper role. Ironically, we got Top Gun, who's the solid guy. He makes all the right decisions, good at clutching, and Azza is like our aim star. He's the frag monster. So that's the lineup.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember Top Gun from the CGS. Is he your kind of pedigree superstar, or no? He was Sydney Underground, right?
Yeah, I was also Sydney Underground.
Really? Oh, my apologies, mate.
But I wasn't as notable. I was more of just the support player. So
well, it's just because I interviewed Azad, right?
Yes.
Back in the day. So I do apologise.
Yeah. Well. He's just the guy that you can rely on in the team. You know he's going to get the kills when he has to, and he's always going to do it. So I guess that's kind of the best player to have, somebody who you know is always going to play to their potential. But in terms of like the superstars, that's Havoc and Azza. They're the ones that make all the flashy frags, get into the frag movies and stuff, and all that kind of jazz.
Okay. Right, thank you very much. Very comprehensive. So I'm assuming this is your first time at DreamHack. How does this compare to all the Australian events? I'll come over to you.
Yeah, yes. Well, I mean, it really, the Australian events pale in comparison. Obviously, we were in D Hall for the BYOC, and I think there was probably 1,000 people in there. If there's a D Hall, there must be an A, B, and C. And if you can imagine, that's a lot more people. You know, so in Australia, our lands in Perth, 300 to 600 odd people maximum, and that's it. And they're not really ran as well or as flashy as this. I mean, we were in D Hall, and it was like a nightclub filled with computers. So that won't happen in Australia anytime soon. So definitely we pale in comparison.
Okay. Yeah, it's mentioning that you're in D Hall. I was in there last night. The music was ridiculously loud. Yeah, good, but ridiculously loud. Do you find that was annoying while you're trying to play in a tournament?
Extremely annoying. In terms of being like in the atmosphere of where everything's going on, it's fantastic. But in terms of trying to qualify through the BYOC, it made life extremely difficult. We couldn't hear two of the guys' microphones. We didn't have spare ones to fix it. It was pretty much catastrophic in the Zasper game, especially on Nuke. Like when you can't really identify footsteps in like top and under anyway, and then when you can't really hear anything at all, and it didn't help. It's not an excuse, like we just sucked, but it wasn't the best. But what do you do? That's what we got.
Yeah. That's the hand you were dealt, yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about the BYOC tournament in that case. There wasn't a whole deal of coverage on most of the sites I saw. Can you tell me a little bit about your path through the tournament, who you faced and how it went overall?
Well, we started off with the first match was versus Pyth's team, which we were told to look out for the Swedish. Yeah, we were told to look out for the Swedish mixed teams by Fnatic and some of the other guys we made friends with here, and they were okay. Like we started on Dust 2, which is obviously if you're a mixed team, you're going to be pretty good on Dust 2. Yeah. But I think we managed to win that game 16-7 or 16-8. Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't too difficult. And from there we thought, oh yeah, it should be pretty easy to get through the rest of those group stage matches which we had, and they were just local teams, local guys just who were at the event and they're just playing, and it was great to play against them. They were really nice, and there were two very easy games, but it was great to play against them, so that was fun. And then the first round of the bracket, the single elim, we had Homies, and they seemed alright. They had good strats, they knew how to play the game, like they had good aim and stuff like that. We played Nuke versus them, which we think we're pretty strong on Nuke. We won that 16-7. Right. We actually managed to win a knife round, so we started CT, which we've been struggling our whole international campaign to win knife rounds. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. And then we had Zapso, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was Nuke, and we were happy about Nuke, and then we lost the knife round, and then we lost pistol round, and then we won a couple of random gun rounds, and we lost the first half 12-3. So that's that sucks.
If you lose the gun round, you really need to, if you lose the pistol round, you really need to get at least 6 gun rounds on a map like Nuke. It's just impossible almost. And from our experience, our T-half is usually 3 rounds with a pistol win is really good. From practice, we won all of our pistol rounds in practice on Nuke against some world-class teams. So we came in pretty confident and we just rolled with one of those strategies and it just got shut down. And they were just too sharp. And then so for the rest of the half, we were on the back foot trying to raise money to get a decent strat happening. We tried some strats that never failed in practice. They get our hard top, some get out control and then fall back and take ramps, just normal pincer stuff, but it just wasn't working. We just weren't making our shots. They were a lot sharper than us. They were world class in aim. Like from all the other teams we versed, they were on par. So to not get the pistol and then to not have the opportunity to secure 2 easy anti-ecos, that are almost impossible in Europe, it was catastrophic. Couldn't come back from it. We won CT pistol. No, we lost CT pistol. So what do you do? They just outclass us in every way.
Is it disheartening to lose to a team like Zapso, see them come through to the main tournament and then get knocked straight out? Does that make things worse for you guys?
Well, not really. Like we managed to claw that game back to 16-10 or 11, and we thought we could have taken that game to overtime because it was at 15-9 or something like that. But then to see them beat Maus, I was really surprised to see them beat Maus. Like I knew that Maus get classified as onliners, but I think that's a bit rough. For them to have beaten Maus, they must have played pretty good. Like we were home in bed at that point in time. So
I think it was Caddy Casper. Amazing. He was just really good against us, and apparently he carried them through their Inferno match against Maus. So,
I think anything past the BYOC making it into the main tournament, they'd be really happy with that. I know we would have been really happy with that. We would have been over the moon. So to see them get knocked out straight away, not surprising. Obviously, they've come through the hardest way to get into the tournament, and then they're versing some of the really good teams. So you don't expect more than that, I think, if you're coming from BYOC.
Yeah, there is no easy team. In the final stages, there is no easy group. All groups are hard, all teams are hard. So they did very well to even get the rounds they got. And, since I don't think many people know much about the Norwegian players, and they have got one Swedish player, and they did really well. I mean, I couldn't say we would do better. They did great. So it's not disheartening at all. It's just it sort of complements us in a way that, if we're going to go out, we're going to go out to someone who made it all the way through and then did, respectable.
Yeah. Okay, well, this isn't your first international voyage in the last month. You were in China last week as well, right?
Yep.
You met Very Games there, Fnatic there. How was that as a benchmark for what you were going to meet in Europe?
Very Games, when we played them in group stages, we played them on their best map. Yep. And I'm not picking it. Hindsight, probably should have gone for something else. But at the same time, we knew our Mirage was weak, and we knew that their Dust 2 was strong, and then they left Inferno, which they're also fantastic on, and we knew they were going to drop Train. Right. So Nuke was probably for us the best choice. Yeah. Versus Very Games on Nuke, what do you do? Like they were really good, they were really sharp, but like in saying that, like we were able to get kills. So it made us think, okay, these guys aren't gods. They're not unbeatable. Like eventually, if we maybe one day Blue Moon, we could win a game. But that kind of set the tone in terms of versing other European teams that, hey, we can get kills versus these guys. We played Fnatic then. They destroyed us. They trampled us, and that was a bit saddening. And then we played SK, and then SK, it felt like versus SK that we could beat them. Like we felt that we could go toe to toe with them. Both times we had problems with pistol rounds. We didn't win pistol rounds, and then it's really hard on us. And then just the same old story. And I think it kind of lack of experience overall for the players and as a team, and me calling and a lot of different elements. Like if we had a longer boot camp here in Sweden or in Europe in general, I think that we could have performed a lot better, because we learnt so much stuff in the 2 days we played at Game Effect here in Jönköping that if we had been here for maybe an extra week or whatever, I think we could have done a lot better. Right. But in terms of MSI in general, we achieved what we wanted to achieve. We got out of the group stage. We proved that we're the best team in our region of Asia, and we're better than the Chinese teams. We know that. I'd say we're better than the Middle Eastern teams as well. So pretty much our side of the border, we're the best, and we're really happy with that. And we prove that to ourselves, and we prove that to Australia, and yeah, I think we're content with how that competition went.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, so you're the best in Australia. Maybe there's a little bit of a skill gap at the moment compared to Europe and maybe America.
Yeah.
So let me come back to you, Sniper, with this question and ask, what's it going to take for Australian teams to become competitive with the rest of the world? Is it just a matter of exposure, or is there something else you're going to have to do?
Well, there's a few things.
Be nice.
So from our experience... Well, from our experience so far, there's a few things we need to stop worrying about. There's a few things that we need to focus on, and I think really the community needs to get together and aim to be better as a community, which will take a lot of effort. We've learnt some things from Europeans and how they schedule their practice and whatnot, and we'll see if we can take that back to Australia maybe, which will help. Sometimes in Australia you can practice on a night and only get 1 or 2 scrims, even though there might be 8 teams looking. So it's just, it comes down to, does Australia want to get better? As far as we know, we want to get better, but will Australia heed the call? So basically, yeah, we need to just work together to get better. The whole community. When we get back, we're going to stay together, and hopefully people will be able to verse us and feed off us and improve. We're going to keep trying to improve from what we've learnt here. We're going to keep the same play style we have now and go from there. So yeah, the opportunity is there to get better and learn from us. It's just whether or not people want to take it up.
Just out of interest, you have 8 teams looking in a given night. Why would you only play 2? What's the issue there? Or is that prying too deep?
No, okay, I'll answer this nicely. Some teams don't like playing us because we beat them too convincingly.
Right.
And they think that we have an attitude problem. And
they also think they've got nothing to learn. I think if they play a game and they don't do particularly well, then they've got nothing to take out of it, which is kind of the opposite. And then, you've got to play the best to be the best, but they don't want to play the best. It's as simple as that. And we are the best.
Cringe.
Okay, well, let's move on and talk more generally then. So Valve have announced that they're going to be doing a lot more of these 250,000, actually they haven't specified the amount, but they're going to be putting more money into these esports tournaments going forward. Do you see yourselves coming over to Europe more frequently in the future and getting more international trips out of this?
Hopefully. It's very costly. We kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel with our sponsors, and I think even our manager put in some money to help us get here. We would love to come over to more of these events because it's our passion. It's what we want to do. We want to play on this level. We want to be able to compete. And
we want to be professional.
I think if we're going to get home and hopefully we've done enough to get sponsors to look at us more and say, hey, look, these guys have done pretty well. They've given exposure. And we might be looking at going to Copenhagen Games. I think that's maybe the next major one that's coming up soon. We're going to look into it. Yeah. If we can pull the money together, if we can get the support, then sure, we'll be there. But we definitely need to come back more frequently. Yeah. We need to be here to learn off the teams that are here and to keep Australian Counter-Strike. Like, the more that the teams that come over from Australia learn, the more they take back and the better we get as a continent. So, yeah, I definitely want to come back.
Okay. Right, well, penultimate question before I let you go. What are your plans from here? Other than Copenhagen Games, are there any lands coming up in Australia? What are the big events on your horizon?
The big events on our horizon, probably the next season of Cybergamer, which is our main online one there. It's basically the ESEA of Australia, just not as big. That's kind of the most prestigious online title, and then sometimes we do LAN events for it. But it's really hard with Australia being so huge. The two of us live on the other side of the country. We're 3 hours behind the rest of the country. It takes us 6 hours to get to the other side of the country. So LANs in Australia, they're very frequent. They're very few and far between, and it's hard to know when the next one's going to happen. Right. So it's basically online stuff, and then any online comps that come up, and yeah, that's the main plan moving forward, and just practicing when we can.
Yeah. So we mostly practice online because of the geographic size of Australia, and that's all there is in Australia, just online. The lands, there's not enough prize money to travel to, and so if we went to every little tiny land, we would be out of pocket. Right. So the focus is to go to a big land, and there's only maybe 2 a year. I think there was only 1 this year. Yeah. There was a promise of maybe 4, but they just don't happen.
They never eventually.
So yeah, if that could change next year, that would be good. Maybe we could use that prize money to get back over here. I think the just touch on the last question, the reason why we want to come back is because we feel we're already just a little bit, we're close. Yeah. We can almost say we can win against a decent team. I think SK Gaming showed that. Maybe they underestimated us. It was a pretty poor setup with the monitors, but no fault to anyone with that. It was just a patenting thing. But if we got absolutely decimated, we'd be like, we'll come back when we come back. But because we're just a little bit behind, we feel that if we came back more often, we would be able to do what Complexity did and maybe, put in 4 weeks of boot camp, and then next thing you know, you've just beaten Very Games. Yeah. So that's why.
Okay. So optimistic, fair to say.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you. And last but not least, any shout-outs?
To the organisation, VOX Eminor, to our manager, Talno, Richard. He's a great guy, helped us out a lot. All of our sponsors, so we got Western Digital, they're our main one. They've helped us out a lot. We also had Sound Blaster, who helped us out, and Gigabyte with some laptops to help us be able to play and watch demos in our travels. The Australian community, who have been fantastically supportive. They've been messaging us non-stop before our games saying good luck. They stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning last night to watch our games. Yeah, and
it would have been 3, but there was 2 hours of delays, I think, because of Get Right's PC.
And we also have to thank, I guess, there was, to get us here to DreamHack, Rogue from Australia helped us get a qualifier for MSI, which then we were halfway around the world, so we figured we'll just come to DreamHack as well. So big thanks to her. And I think that's it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, mostly thanks to the community for the support, not just the Australian community, but we've got some European fans now. We've got some in Southeast Asia. Yeah. So just to the whole world, anyone who supports us, thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again for the interview, guys. I wish you the best of luck in the future. And for everybody at ESEA.net and ESEAnews.com, stay tuned to the websites for the rest of the weekend for full coverage of DreamHack Winter 2013.